3-4 swap the world, baby. Let's go and do this. Quick recap for anyone that's new, or if you guys haven't been following, we are swapping over a 1994 Toyota pickup 5-speed, originally 3.0. The engine was seized up, have no record of it. I went ahead and pulled that motor out, and we're putting this 3-4 out of a 96 4Runner automatic setup. I got everything done. Like I said, we tore this engine down to the before you get to head gasket. So we didn't do head gasket on this, but we ran refresh a lot of things on this. New belts, new water pump, reused a few new things, but then overall it's been refreshed, resealed. My clutch just arrived today. So when you do a 3.4 swap, all my 3.4 swaps in the past, I went with a 3.4 flywheel and 3.4 clutch. Now when you do this swap, you can use either ors, meaning you can use a 3.4 flywheel, 3.4 clutch, or you can use a 3.0 flywheel, 3.0 clutch. The 3.0 clutch, I compared it as far as diameter wise of the actual clutch disc, and it's only a centimeters larger compared to the 3.0. The 3.4 flywheel is a bit more heavier, so if you guys want to get into like specs and stuff like that, and usually a heavier flywheel will produce more torque. I'm not gonna get into that, but for the most part, I went with the 3.0 setup because cost effective. The Ace clutch ran about 145. You get the Ace clutch, the disc, and the pressure plate. So 145, and then if you were to compare that to a 3.4 Ace clutch, you're looking about almost 220. So there's a slight price difference if you're on a budget. The flywheel, I went with the new one just for the heck of it. I could have probably reused the old 3.0 flywheel that was in here, but it looked a little bit old and just the surface didn't look so fresh. So the flywheel, I was able to get that a brand new from Napa. Napa, they pretty much boxed their flywheel, and this is a LUK flywheel, which will run you about 100 bucks. I got it for a little bit less than that. New pilot bearing. The pilot bearing comes with the Ace clutch, so when you order that, you get a new pilot bearing. And then also, when you order the 3 Ace clutch, you get a new throwout bearing, so you can slap that on. So that is one downside when you order the 3.4 Ace clutch. The 3.4 Ace clutch comes with a 3.4 throwout bearing, which does not work for this application. You always want to keep the throwout bearing same as whatever transmission it is. So the throwout bearing is a 3.0. Pilot bearing is the same for 3.4, 3.0. Rear main seal is the same for 3.4 and 3.0. So we put a new rear main seal as well. Everything's refreshed. I need to clean the crossover real quick. The crossover, I just have to wire brush the gasket area, slap on the crossover, and then we are gonna go ahead and drop in this motor. Now we can't start this motor yet because we're still waiting on a few things. I sent my injectors in to get refreshed, so I can't put the injectors on and the top of the rest of the engine on yet. So we're gonna be about maybe a week out, but that's totally fine because during that time, that will give me time to button everything up, and also it will give me time to build the exhaust because I do have to build the exhaust. The catalytic converter came in today, and the rest of the exhaust stuff is coming today. I'll say that for another video because exhaust work is a category in itself. For the battery tray and the EVAP mount, I like to use the toy only swap battery tray, which is off camera right here, but last couple days I went ahead and cleaned it and put new paint on it already because it's just bare metal when you order it. So I like to just put typical primer, black spray paint, a couple coats. So we'll go ahead and install the battery tray and go from there. So let me go ahead and get that crossover set up. This is the crossover. This crossover you do have to modify because you have to make it dump out on the driver's side. So this one is made by John JP, who's the guy that also builds my 3.4 harness. So I had this one on the shelf for a long time already, and it was just one of those parts that I just had just in case I need to do something. When you install this 3.4, make sure you put new gaskets, and then I got in the habits of, on the downpipe, I like to thread in a couple of the old nuts in there. And what that does is that just protects the studs here. So I learned that in the past when I don't do that, when you're dropping the engine into the engine bay, it's always going to be banging on stuff like that, and there's a chance of it damaging these threads. So just put a few old nuts in there. You don't have to tighten them really hard, but just thread them in like maybe 4 or 5 threads in. And when you drop in the engine, that will at least protect the threads from damaging it, and then you can just put new nuts in when you're done. So I just need to clean this one up. This one, you can see it has some dirty stuff, and wire brush it real quick, and then we'll slap it on. If you guys don't know, we have some crazy weather this year in Alaska. It's been raining so January is usually the coldest month, January, February, but right now we have like 40 degrees. We've been getting 40, 50 miles per hour wind right now. I think it's a bit windy outside still, and it's been raining all day. So I think the rain kind of stopped it for a little bit. So hopefully we get like a quick 40-minute window to drop this engine in. I'll go ahead and clean up my garage, and then we'll pull in the truck into the garage, and then we'll finish up doing everything else in the garage out of the winter elements. Let's go. I'm excited. All right, I got the crossover installed, ready to go. We just need to set up the truck so that it can be it'll be ready to receive this engine. One thing I like to also get ready and prepped up when I'm doing this is these are the engine mounts. The 14mm, you guys know that they're very distinctive. They have a washer and a lock ring that are stuck to each other, and a nut. So I always take these, clean them up really good, wire brush the threads so that they go in really nice and smooth, so that when I get this engine in, I can pop them in there and tighten them up really fast. And then all the bell housing bolts around the bell housing, they're always dirty, oily. So I'm gonna go ahead and spray it down with brake cleaner, let it soak in brake cleaner for a little bit while we do all this. And then once we get this engine in, I'll go ahead and clean those bolts up and install them, because if you guys know, when you install something, it's much easier when your bolts are nice and clean. You're not fighting with the threads and stuff like that. Everything's going in smooth. So with these engine mounts and the bell housing, my tip for you guys is get them clean, get them wire brushed so that they're nice and smooth. You don't have any issue. Everything will go in much more smoother. We got a quick break in the weather here. It's not raining anymore. It's just a little bit sprinkled, so we're gonna try to get this in there very quick. The wind kind of chilled out for a little bit, but we got a little nice breeze, but we're gonna do our best. So what you guys didn't see on camera is I already went ahead and prepped up the engine bay. There are some things you need to do before you do a 3/4 swap. You have to prep up the engine bay. Watch my other video about how to prep it up. Delete a few things, put new throwout bearing, put a new slave cylinder for me, and then I also went ahead and took my floor jack and I jacked the bottom of the transmission so that the transmission raised up a little bit, so that when I drop the engine in, they'll kiss each other. So just do that real quick. Now, I'm not sure how long I'm gonna film, because sometimes I struggle with this for at least 30 minutes. So yeah, new slave cylinder, new throwout bearing. Check. Everything's good to go. If you guys have an engine hoist, I recommend you guys put a swivel hook. Remove the stock the hook that comes with it, and put a swivel hook. This right here, you can swivel. You can turn this engine 360 degrees so that you can face it whichever angle you want. Has been really handy. The 5EZE FE engine hook was made locally here in Alaska. If you guys are interested, comment down below. I do have 33s on this truck right now. Preferably you want this truck as low as possible. If you got big old 35, 40-inch tire, it's gonna make your engine replacement even harder. So always get the truck low as possible, unless you got a really nice engine hoist. Double check everything, guys. I'm pretty sure I got everything in there. All right, that's perfect right there. And it's always easier to have at least 3 people, guys. But I've done it by myself. I'm able to do it, but it's just really challenging. You do it by yourself, you have to be very careful. Drop it slowly, up and down, left and right. You see that? We just caught something on the back. That crossover. Gotta watch out for that rear crossover. I think we need to go driver's side a little bit more. nice and slow. When you drop it, it's gonna go forward. So once you drop it, you have to push the engine hoist a little bit back towards you more. Wind's picking up. Nice and slow, going down. Caught up on the bill housing. All right, almost there. The crossover down pipe is catching on it. Almost there, guys. We're almost there. Little by little, guys. I'm gonna go ahead and drop the transmission down just a little bit. What are we caught up on? I always want to catch up on the oil pan or the crossover. Okay, I think I got the clutch output into the clutch, so I think we're good on that. Yep, I think we're good on that, guys. We got it to kiss each other. Okay, the engine is now resting on the frame. I need to go drop the transmission, make sure they actually butt up together. Okay, and transmission has been dropped fully. We are almost there, but not quite yet. About maybe 1 inch apart. Almost there, guys. I just need to get this in there, and then we can do the rest on our own slow time. Nope. We are not quite there yet. Okay, I think we're there, guys. I think we are there. Alright, we are buttoned up together. I just need to align the engine mount hose together, and then we're gonna go ahead and thread the belt housing bolt, at least get one on each side, just to make sure that we're locked in place, and then we'll be good from there. I don't need to show you guys the rest of it. I'll show you once we get this truck into the garage. We got the 3.4 engine into the 94 truck. Now we just need to push it into the garage. It's gonna be too much weight for me to push it by myself, but I have a little push bar that I put on front of my black Yoda to help push it with two little dumb tires. So let's go ahead and get it going. The rain's picking up right now, so I want to get her inside before she starts getting all wet and drippy. Don't get wet and drippy yet. Not yet, baby. Be able to push it. I'm still young and strong. Woo-hoo! I'm trying to push it without using the black Yoda, and I think we should go to do it. I want to get her nice and straight in here though. All right. A lot of hard work, guys. If you ain't down to do hard work, you're not getting no 3-4 swap. Whew. Hopefully in the next 10 years, my 3 boys will help me. Right now, it's just NuttyNu. All right, we're almost in here. Once we get half of the truck inside the garage, it's all flat level, so it's not super hard. Right now, it's just slightly at a 2% grade. Alright, we're almost in, guys. We're halfway in. So make sure we're still nice and straight. Woo! Alright, 94. Engine got a little bit wet, but we'll let it cool out, dry out. There we go. All right, she's in. Oh, we gotta turn it. She's all wet. She's nice and wet. So if you guys remember, I told you guys earlier when I bought this truck, the hood didn't want to close, and this this hood bracket, there's a little support beam, and I hammered it from the inside here, and now it closes. So fix that while you're there. All right, guys, she's in. She is in. Woohoo! '94's in. January 25th, 2025. This has been a pretty fast swap, but again, we didn't do the head gasket, so the refresh went by pretty fast. I'm gonna let this truck dry out for a little bit, and then we can start putting on the harness, the radiator, battery tray, do the tack mod, and then we'll bust up the harness to the transmission and stuff like that. I need to do the ADD delete on the front diff, shift fork over. We can't install the rest of the main plenum yet until we get those injectors. Take a look at the 3.4 motor inside of a 3.0 engine bay. This is what it'll look like. I'll go over a few things real quick, and then I'm gonna get to work. First thing I hooked up was the heater hose. You have the Napa heater hose. This one goes, this is the return one. Goes in like that. And these two hoses, I have it in my parts list PDF, so download that. They don't need to be cut or anything. This one curves and then goes into this little plastic jiggy. So pretty setup, pretty simple. I still need to get down and bolt the engine mounts, bolt the bell housing, and then I'll start bolting things from the top. We have your power steering, radiator, fan, top hoses, install the battery tray, the alternator, all the belts, put on the harness, and then we'll deal with little things here and there. We still have to also put in the starter. So that's all easy stuff. But I'm gonna go ahead and start with the hard stuff, which is the bell housing, do all the stuff from the bottom and get that out of the way, and then we'll start working from the top up. This is the hot wire that you have to build. This one is for the 80 amp alternator, and like I said in my past videos, you can run this all the way back to your battery, your hot on your terminal, or you can run it down to the starter. I'm gonna run this down to the starter because this one was already made for that. I was using this on Black Yoda, and then early this fall season I changed over to a new setup where I ran it back to my battery. So either way is fine. And then pretty simple. We still have to hook up power steering line. Power steering line is self-explanatory. You have your return hose, and then you have your high pressure line right there. You just install it with the 3.0 banjo bolt. So simple stuff. We'll have to top off all the fluids once we have everything hooked up. ATF power steering, coolant, and oil. Have not added oil yet, so don't forget about that, guys. Add your oil. And then brake booster, I'll show you guys that later on. And then we also went ahead and put a new slave cylinder down by the transmission, so we'll have to go ahead and bleed it out. I want to bleed all the fluids out anyways, because like I say, we don't have a record of when this truck broke down. The registration on the license plate say that the last year was registered was 2020, so that's about almost 4 years ago. So it might have been dead for 4 years. It probably has some bad fuel. We'll run it and see how it is. So pretty exciting stuff. Okay, Ron, my buddy John was able to come through with some injectors, so we don't have to wait for the injectors. Went ahead and installed the injector rails. We're gonna go ahead and put on the harness, and after that we can slap on the intake manifold. So didn't really film too much, but that's pretty much what I did. I fuel pressure, fuel return line, hooked that up because you won't be able to access that fuel regulator in a bit. I also went ahead and installed the starter, the 3.4 starter. On the bottom bolt of the starter, you have to drill that out so the bolt can go through it, and then it bites onto the bell housing, and then the top bolt goes through the bell housing and then threads onto the top of the starter. So make sure you do that. Power steering has been hooked up. Like I said, make sure you use the 3.0 banjo bolt. Tight that thing really good. And that's pretty much it right there, guys. We're gonna go ahead and slap on the harness, and and we'll be able to get it going. Haven't installed the radiator yet. So let me show you how easy this harness is. It goes right on top. Just like that. I think I did something. I did something that I should have waited before I did it.
Hey,
yes?
you brush my teeth?
Yeah, you brush your teeth? Good job.
I have money.
Oh, go.
Did he brush his teeth this morning?
No.
Nah.
Go brush your teeth.
Okay, let's go brush your
Hey, go brush your teeth. Love you. So I should have put the harness first before I tighten the fuel line, because you want the harness to sit on the valve cover and then the fuel line will go on top. Yes, baby. Yes, baby. Daddy's busy right now, okay? Yes. Daddy's busy. Hold on. Okay, go home, okay? Bye-bye. Yeah, so we'll go ahead and unbolt that fuel line and then put this under the fuel line. Yeah, baby. Daddy's busy, okay? I'll talk to you guys later. No. No. Yes. Yes, boo. Yes, boo. No. We'll connect the injectors on the driver's side first. Yeah, we'll release that. Make sure you plug in the engine coolant temperature sensor all in the far back. And that one is hard to get to later on. Make sure you hear it click. Click, click. Everything needs to click. Click in place. Plug in your coil packs. Plug in your ECT on the front and also your knock sensor harness. Self-explanatory, not too hard to get to. And then you have one plug right here that goes to your cam sensor. Plug that in so you don't forget about that, because those are very important sensors. Click. So simple, guys. You have your igniter and also your MAF. We'll mount those later on. These goes to the firewall. Check here. Check here. You have two plugs right here that goes into your oil pressure sensor and then your crank sensor down here. You want to do these before you put the alternator in, because it'll be easier to plug it in. Alternator gets hard later on. 3.0 oil pressure sensor is in use. Click. There's a 10mm bolt right here on the alternator bracket. I like to put a little clip right here to hold in this wire from moving. So there's a little bolt right here. Show you guys. I like to use these little rubber hose clamp. You guys can see it right here. These guys, and it keeps your harness nice and tight. This is where the dipstick used to be held in place, but we don't need that no more. So you can slap one of these guys, and make sure you buy a bunch of these, because you will be using these around here and there. You'll see me use it here and there. So it makes it really nice and clean. And just like that, keeps it from moving around. Injectors, and then like I said, those rubber pieces right here. They go into the valve cover where the original used to be held. So you just put your 10 mil right there, hold those in place. You have your two IAC and the TPS right here, and the same thing for these guys right here, coil packs, 2 wire for the knock sensor, and that 1 ECT behind here, cam sensor. So super simple. And like I said, what I was saying earlier is where you want the harness to rest on the valve cover and then put on that fuel line. I put that fuel line on ahead earlier. So now we can slap on this fuel line. And this is a 3/4 fuel line. It'll go on this way, just like that, guys. So we'll slap that on. Don't forget the washers on the crush, the banjo bolt. You don't want to lose those. And then you have these guys that will go onto your evap, which will be around here. And then this one here is just your 2 plugs for the upstream, downstream. This one we're gonna loop it down to the fender well, and then it'll go down there to the exhaust system. This is your ground for your intake manifold. Super simple. Good right there, good right there. Now we can slap on the intake manifold. I just gotta bolt the harness to the valve cover real quick. Go find me some 10 nails. I have the lower intake manifold put on. I need to bolt it down. Make sure to plug in the vacuum for the fuel pressure regulator at the back of it right here. And then make sure to hook up the ground wire right here, the 10 mil that goes right here. This is where your diagnostic box, depending on your harness setup, mine got deleted because I don't need that. Slap this on real quick. This is a very important ground wire right here. If you don't have this ground hooked up, you're gonna have all sorts of weird trouble. Nice and tight. Okay, let me go ahead and bolt this intake on, and then we'll go from there. John put another rubber grommet right here, a holder, and I don't need one at this section. So I'll save that for something else. The spark plug wire, you can probably put it on top of it. So I should have put the spark plug on top of it, and I'll fix that here shortly because I just need to unplug these 2 plugs right here. So easy enough. Double check, double check. I apologize for not filming so much of the install. Sometimes I get in the groove of doing this and I just want to go and not worry about filming. Because once I'm in the mood, I'm going, man. Like, I'm just up and fire. No need to film, so apologies for that. Super simple, super easy. No need for a torque wrench. Okay, I finished doing the upper intake. I put the alternator in, hooked up the alternator. It's loose right now because we got to put the belts on. So I'm pretty much done with the side area. Alternator. I still got to tie the fuel line to the main hard line down by the driver, by the passenger side frame. But I think I'm gonna go ahead and tackle the front end. Put on a radiator. We're gonna put a used good radiator, and then hook up the fan, hook up the radiator hoses and all that stuff. And then we just need to do the rest of the harness, the brake booster hose. We'll be using the 301. We'll cut it to size, and it's just little bitty things. I still got to put the battery tray on. I got to hook up the air box. So little small things. I'll show you guys once I'm done. I don't want to spend too much time filming because it's just consuming too much of my time right now. So I'll show you guys once I'm done. Bummer. I had a good used radiator. It was in my storage shed and I must have been moving parts around or something, but I just pulled it out and it's damaged. Ay, ay, ay. Look at that big old hole right there. So I'm pretty sure fluid's gonna leak. And I don't want to run this one. So I guess we're gonna go buy a new one. That's like another 200 bucks right there, but it is what it is. It is what it is. So we can't put the radiator on tonight. It's already late. We'll go grab a new radiator tomorrow morning, first thing. I like to use the AutoZone part number B50. That's the plastic one, and so far it's been running good. Welcome back to another video. Today's a new day. So last night I got a lot of stuff done. Battery tray hooked up, evac hooked up. Went ahead and got the stock air box hooked up. And got pretty much everything done. I did the ADD delete this morning, so I shifted the actuator to the passenger side. I made a video about that, so I don't want to talk about too much about it. Like I say, last night I found out my spare radiator was damaged, so I'm gonna run to the parts store, or I have the parts stores. They're gonna bring me a radiator, so once I get the phone call, we'll go pick that up. And then we can pretty much put the front end stuff: radiator, fan, belts, hoses, add coolant, slap on a battery. I have to do the positive to the starter and the negative to the ground, so let me show you how you do that. When you're getting your donor rig, you want to keep the stock 3/4. This is the stock 3/4 positive wire. So it's gonna come like this, and it's gonna have the negative. It's gonna have the negative, the starter trigger, and the alternator wires. They're all gonna be taped together. And what you want to do is you want to strip it apart, guys. Strip it apart until you have just the positive. So this goes to the starter. This goes to the battery. Strip it down like this, and strip it down like this. This is the negative battery to the block. And then you have the alternator and the starter trigger. You don't need those anymore, but keep those for spare because they're still good. So what you should have left is just something like this. You want to keep this plastic L bracket because this is going to clip onto the metal bracket that holds it in place. So now that I have it stripped up, I'm just going to do a little quick clean, brake clean, wipe it down, and then I'm just going to re-tape it up just to give it an extra protection. Just put some extra tape on it, put some Tessa tape on it. Or you can just install it the way it is. I mean, this is some heavy duty rubberized insulated wire, but I like to just put some extra tape for protection. So we're just using stock wires. If you use the stock negative, you're gonna have to go from the negative battery to the driver's side of the block, right where the oil filter is. On my black Yoda, I made a custom wire where it's a bit longer, and I run the negative from the battery to the side of the block, but I put it on the passenger side where the AC used to bolt on. And I do that just so that when I change my oil, I don't have oil coming to the terminal. So that's the only downside about that, because that connection on the block is right under the oil filter, so you're always gonna have oil on this terminal, which is not a big deal, but that's just personal preference, so it's up to you. But we're on a budget, so we're using stock. We don't have to do any crimping or anything like that. We don't have to use any materials just besides wrapping it up. This right here is Tessa tape, T-E-S-A. You can buy it on Amazon in a single roll, or you can buy like a 10-pack roll. I like to get the 10-pack roll just because if you use it, if you do a lot of stuff like me, you might just get the big bowl. So this stuff is like fabric electrical tape, really nice. This is what John uses for his 3/4 harness, so a good amount of my harness is wrapped in this Tessa tape. So this stuff is really good. You even see this tape in some of the on factory vehicles, on these new vehicles nowadays. So really good stuff. It's fabric, and you can't just rip it with your bare hand or your teeth. You have to make sure you have like a razor knife or a scissors, because like I said, it's kind of like fabric. It probably is some kind of high quality fabric. So I'm just wrapping it with the Tessa tape to give it some extra protection, just because, you know, electricity and fire and gas, you don't want anything to spark. So here's the two wires, the positive and the negative. They're really nice now since they're wrapped in Tessa. Almost look like I made them myself. So there it is. They route just the way they would like if you see a 3/4 engine. So this one, like I said, still curved in its formality, so you can, it goes right to the starter. So we're gonna butt this up to the starter, and then on top of that, we're also gonna put that hot wire. You guys remember that hot wire from the 80 amp alternator fuse box? They're gonna bunch up together, and then the negative, self-explanatory, ground it the way you wanted to do it. So loop them in and go from there. Positive, negative wire in, pretty simple. This is where the positive hooks up to. There's a metal bracket right under the harmonic balancer, so that's the reason why you keep it. And then I always delete the front sway bar on my truck. So it's just my preference. If you're not comfortable doing it, don't do it. But got done unbolting the sway bar. That's gonna head on to the trash. And then the last thing we need to do, or one of the few things on this bottom floor that we have to do, is we have to bleed out the slave cylinder, because I installed a new slave cylinder. So you always want to bleed it out. So I'm gonna bleed that out. And then the only thing we need to do left on the bottom is really just build the exhaust system. But I don't have my exhaust system yet. It's still in the mail, so it's gonna be here by next week. So we can't really do anything under the truck anymore. It's just a matter of getting the radiator today. Last night I also did the tack mod. So I'll post up some photos of the tack mod. So we are done with the interior. Tack mods have been done. I removed some of the light bulbs in the back of the gauge cluster. The ECU stores right into the passenger side panel. I'll show you that here shortly. But that's pretty much it, guys. The battery that you want is a 24F, or I believe a 34 works. I only have a 24. So the 24, you can see here, look at the terminals. So the 24, it's gonna have the negative right here, and it's gonna have the positive over here and the negative right here. And usually you want the positive over here and the negative over here, which is the 24F battery. But I think I'm just gonna go ahead and use that 24, because there's plenty of length. This is the negative. There's plenty of length like that. And then the positive is right over here. Plenty of length like that. You just have to watch out, because sometimes if you do it this way, it gets bulky and the hood might touch it. So that's what happened last time when I did it on Black Yoda. But if it's way over here, the hood won't touch it, and you definitely don't want the hood to be touching the positive terminal here. So we'll see how that goes. If that doesn't work, then I'll go get a new battery, the 24F or something like that. Just finished blading the clutch slave cylinder. I like to jack the vehicle up so I have a little bit more room. So while the front end was jacked up and both wheels was up in the air, I went ahead and bled the power steering. You just go ahead and turn it back and forth, back and forth. The fluid did went ahead and drop down a little bit, so I topped it off, and now it's good. So we'll check the fluids once we go for a test drive and all. So right now, guys, we're pretty much all done with what we have. Like I said, the only thing we have left is just the exhaust, which is the big one, and then the rest is just the radiator, which is simple stuff. So right now we're gonna call it good. This is the toy only swap radiator. You do have to put an insert nut, insert thread below it, so you can put a new bolt on it. M6 battery tray. You do have to drill 3 holes, easy enough. Evap. The only thing on the evap was that this hose right here is too short. The stock one is too short, so I went ahead and got an aftermarket one and tied it up to here, which is what it goes to. This is the fuel vapor line for the charcoal canister. So this goes back over here and then goes to this one right here. The one down here is the fuel return line. That one goes to your fuel regulator right on your injector rails. This is the 3.0 brake booster. It's been cut up so you can see you can do it any way you want. So pretty much you need 2 90s, and then you have your check valve. Make sure your check valve goes in the direction that it needs to be going. 3 cruise control plugs. I'm gonna go ahead and tape those up. We're not using cruise control anymore. You can tape it up or just cut it and then tape it up. We'll just go ahead and tape it up for now. And then that's the 3/4 evap plug. You can just bolt that into that area. It has a 10 mil already. Multiple spots for the 10 mil, so you can just do whatever you want. Pretty simple. Like I said, positive, negative. Once we get the battery in and once we have it plugged up, we'll probably go ahead and put a zip tie right here so it don't move around. Pretty much it right here. This is a stock 3.0 throttle cable. On this throttle cable plate right here, it's 2 upwards, so you do have to hammer it. So hammer it a little bit and go from there. So you can see I had to put the 2 nuts over here. So make sure there's enough. Make sure it closes back up. The air box is still loose right now. Once I get everything situated, I'll probably get it bolted down. You can see the alternator hot wire goes down to the starter. And then for the igniter, there's already a 10 mil, so you can bolt this side, And then for this angle right here, you just have to bend it out so it extends more. And there's a hole right here, but it's just a hole, so you have to put a bolt and a nut on the other side. This is just an M6 right here, so it's nicely held in place. All the extra wire just gets zip tied right here. And down here, pretty self-explanatory, pretty easy stuff, guys. We do have to make sure you put the ground or your head to your frame or head to your firewall. And then I also gotta get another ground wire for the fender to the battery, which is easy enough. But that's pretty much it. Like I said, once we have the radiator, bolt on the radiator, bolt on the fan, the two belts, and adjust it, tighten it, and call it good. I got the new radiator in. This is the radiator that I always like to use for all my builds. It's affordable, it's local from AutoZone. Part number is B50. I've used this in all my builds in the past, and so far I haven't had any issue. Last year when I built my 94, the red one, the owner that bought it, the guy that bought it, he has put about over 40 to 50,000 miles, I believe, and he hasn't had any issues. So this is it right here, B50. It's a plastic radiator made in China, so it works good. This is a manual truck, so we don't need these automatic transmission line. So I like to do is I like to remove them. And then what I also learned in the past is sometimes these bolts, sometimes they come loose, so just make sure you double check them, make sure that they're tight, and then you can go ahead and install it. So we're gonna go ahead and install it. Make sure you buy a radiator cap. This one doesn't come with, they don't come with radiator caps, so you get a new one while you're there. But this is all nice and clean. Alright everyone, I have the radiator, fan, belts installed, everything adjusted. I hooked up the battery and for some reason I'm not getting power to the vehicle, so I think something is wrong inside the fuse box. I had to troubleshoot that again. My connectors were pretty good, the battery's new, 12 volts at the battery. I am getting 12 volts at the alternator and the starter, but we're not getting power to the fuse box, I think. So I think something's wrong with that hot wire that I put in there. But for now, my boy's gonna help me put some coolant inside the radiator. You gonna help me?
Yes.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
We're using a pre-mixed pre-stone green. It's just very common, very basic, nothing special. Nice and slow.
Yeah.
Okay, let's slow down for a bit. I need to make sure there's no leaking. Always pour it a little bit and then check for leaks.
There was some what?
Yeah, we need more.
Yes. We need to get what?
We need at least 2 gallons.
Yeah.
This is 1 gallon.
We get what?
Yeah, so I think something is going on with the hot wire. It's not getting power. We're getting power at the starter, so somewhere along that to the fuse box is not getting us power. Because if I hook up the battery and I turn on the ignition, there's no lights, no headlights, no nothing. I checked all my grounds. Ground at the firewall, ground at the fender. So we're good on ground. Oh, slow down. Let's check real quick.
Is it not done?
Not done yet. We need more coolant. We need more coolant, Lincoln.
I hold there.
Yeah, hold the top. Thank you. Pour.
Why do myself?
Oh no, it's too heavy. I have to help you, okay? Yeah, you can hold right there. Okay. Oh, you got it?
Yeah.
Okay, it's almost empty. Okay, keep it like that. Okay, oh, slow down. Not too fast. Oh, don't look inside. Don't look inside. I don't want it to splash on you. You cannot get this on your skin, okay? This is coolant. It's not safe. If it's splashing to your eyes or your skin, we have to go wash it right away. Okay, you got it now. I think it's almost empty. Okay, pour it up. Whoa! Don't look so close. Don't look so close. Wow. My boy's only 3. How old are you, Lincoln? You're 4. You're a 4-year-old. You're already helping Daddy build 3-4 trucks. How amazing. He said he wants this truck, so I might keep it for him. You want to keep this truck?
Yes.
Okay. We might have to just save this truck for you then.
Yeah.
Because Daddy's gonna get old and he ain't gonna be able to build 3 or 4 trucks no more.
He wants to get more.
Yep, we have to put one more in. Okay, hold on. Daddy, open it. It has a safety lock right here. Okay, hold on. Daddy had to punch it. See? They sealed it, so we have to open it. Hold on. Daddy, go this. Move. Watch. Daddy goes. Don't look so close. Yeah, hold on. Don't look so close.
I told you I want to try.
Okay, now we have to lift it up. It's heavy. Careful. I have to help you. This one's very heavy. Don't look inside. Okay?
Yeah. When you get what?
Yeah, we have to pour this whole bottle inside.
The truck is hungry?
Yeah, the truck is hungry for water. It needs water to drink. This water will help the truck stay cool when it gets hot, okay?
Yes.
Because the truck has to work really hard to move itself.
Yes.
So this will help the engine stay cool. Just like when you need water. You remember when you went to go run outside, you need water? Yeah, this is what it needs.
Yeah.
Usually when you do this, it takes about 2.5 gallons. So we're right around, we're gonna be at 2 gallon right here. So we might need about maybe another half gallon, maybe 2 quarts. But if you guys are doing this fresh, just get three gallons. Get 3 gallons, and then whatever's left over, keep that as your spare bottle. Whoa, the wind's picking up outside. Are you glad we are not outside right now? Daddy need to go check outside, make sure nothing's flying outside. So like I say, we can't really start this truck anyway today because we still have to figure out that electrical issue, and then I also have to build the exhaust, and I'm still waiting for parts. So I just want to put fluid in this engine so that it's not dried out. I already went ahead and add the oil, 530 weight oil, put about 6 quarts of that. Okay, almost there.
Yeah.
Once I figure out this electrical issue, if I wanted to start it, I can start it on open headers. But I'm not really a fan of that, so we'll be patient. We'll wait till we get the exhaust done, and then we'll go from there. What I'm worrying about is other issues that's not related to this engine, because like I said, when we bought this vehicle, we didn't get to drive it, we didn't get to start it, so I don't know if the TK's transmission is good. Hopefully it's good, because obviously the engine blew up, so it must mean that this vehicle was running good before all that. But you know, just other things you'll run into. It still needs a full baseline, transmission flush or a tranny flush, TK's rear diff and all that stuff. New shocks are needed and stuff like that. So the tie rods are still pretty good, so I think I might not switch out the tie rods and the ball joints. Thankfully the CVs are still good, they're not ripped or anything like that. It's just old and dirty and rusty. Okay, Daddy, go get one more. Okay, we need one more. We're not done yet. Actually, I'm gonna wait. I don't want to fill it to the top yet, because we're not starting it yet. So we're just gonna go ahead and put 2 gallons in here. And then when we're ready to start it, we'll go ahead and fill it up again. But right now I'm gonna close it up because I don't want it to overfill. Okay, we are done today, Tintin. We're done with the coolant.
Yeah.
Remove, Daddy, remove that.
Making more?
No, we don't need no more.
I want to take out this.
Hold on, don't take out. There's a little bit left in here. Let me see what's left. There's a few more drops. Oh, there it is. Okay, we're done now.
Done now?
Yep.
This one is the last one?
Yep, that's the last one. Did some troubleshooting with my tester here, and I found out my problem. My problem was that the hot wire from the 80 amps. So I took it out, and if I look what happened if I was to wiggle it around. You guys see that? If I wiggle it around, the headlights work. I got my headlights on right now, so I can see if I'm getting power or not. So if you look closely, I think that wire is broken, so we had to rebuild that wire. It's all good because we have tons of extra length right here. So something is bad, but easy fix. We'll go ahead and fix this wire. You can see here, it's gonna work. It's gonna work if I wiggle it around. So this is how you get power to the fuse box. Yeah, that's definitely bad. We'll go ahead and put a new eyelid on that piece. Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. It just broke right off. So that was our problem. It wasn't crimp good enough in there. No worries. Easy fix. Let me go ahead and disable everything first so we don't get electrocute and go from there. There we have it. Fixed that little issue terminal on the 80 amp. Still have some small things to do, like replace this piece here. This clamp is like all corroded, so it doesn't want to tighten up. So just little small things to do before we can start it. Technically, I can start it right now if I wanted to, but again, like I said, we're going to be running open headers. There's literally no downpipe install yet. Doing this with the battery setup. This one still kind of moves around a little bit, so I'm going to try to find the 3.4 battery bracket because this is a 3.0, and I think the 3.4 might be a little bit more better, but we'll figure that out later. If it still moves around a little bit, I'll probably put something under this bracket to help cushion it to make it more tighter. And that's pretty much it. So let's test if we have power. So earlier I didn't have no power as soon as I put the key in, but now we should have power. So there it is. There we go. We got power, guys. So the headlights works. That's nice. LED headlights. We'll go ahead and check for all the turn signals. Let's check the heat, see if the heat works. Heat doesn't work. I thought the heat's supposed to work when you're on the on position. That might be a bad sign. We'll see what happens. Let's check. We got turn signal working. I like these LEDs. Turn signals working. The passenger side, the screen's a bit cracked, but we'll replace that in the future. But yeah, everything looks pretty good. And like I said, if I wanted to, I can crank it over, but we're not gonna do that. Like I said, we got oil, we got coolant in the system right now. Pretty cool. Oh, this is a pretty nice head unit. Jensen brand, Bluetooth. Let's see what they got on here. Any radio working? So they got the radio working. That's pretty cool. There's a USB port right here. I think. Oh yeah, that's pretty cool. It's a little nice head unit already. Hopefully the heater works. Usually the heater's supposed to work when you're on the on position. So we'll see what happens there. My little kiddo was in here playing around, so he was messing around with it. I need to wipe this vehicle down. I vacuumed it, but I think I didn't wipe it down yet. So we might have to do that. You can see some dirtiness around here. So I might have to wipe it down one more time just to make sure, but there it is. We got power and a quarter tank of gas. So it'll be a few more days until we have the exhaust set up. So this will conclude this video. I'm gonna go ahead and put these SR5 and 3310s on my Black Yoda because I want to daily with these KO2 instead of my crazy Baja Boss. I want to save the Baja Boss for when I go on an adventure off-road trip. And then I'm gonna put some all-terrain tires that I pretty much got new from a 99 Tacoma that I just parted out. Those are 31-10-5 15s, and those will be perfect for this truck here. This truck looks great with the 3310s, but I want these 3310s on Black Yoda. So on that, we're pretty much done, guys. But like I said, we'll slap on the hood once we get it going. But for the most part, she's all ready for her first start once we get that exhaust set up. The ADD, I did that earlier. So the RTV is probably carrying, but I'm not gonna add fluid till tomorrow. So I do have my little fill plug right here to remind me that, hey, you gotta put oil. So we'll do that later. And then I might, in the meantime, while we're waiting for the exhaust, I might start and I might go ahead and start draining the T-case, tranny and stuff like that. But at the same time, I don't want to do that yet until we get a first start, because I do want to test drive this vehicle first, make sure everything works good, and then we'll start flushing fluid. So in the meantime, I might just start spraying this vehicle down with PB Blaster on stuff that I want to change over and slowly go from there. And like I said, just a slow project and a fun project from here. So hope you guys enjoy. I'll see you guys on the next episode.